Government offices in Hong Kong's financial district will remain closed for the remainder of the week. Qinduo Xu is a senior researcher at the Pangoal Institution, a China-based public policy think tank. He's joining us from Beijing. Welcome. What's your take on these protests and the response to this proposed legislation?
Evening, Mike. Well, this is, I would say, there's, ostensibly it's about the political freedom, human rights protection, the concerns over there. Below that, I would say there's a lot of frustration, especially young people, and of course about the lack of mobility, upward mobility in the society, or the lack of opportunities for young people to move upward, and also for innovation, for example, this unaffordability of housing and the education system, etc. There's a lot of frustration in Hong Kong, I would say. If you compare Hong Kong to Shanghai, for example, even the speaking English ability, Hong Kong has been surpassed by Shanghai. So there's this anxiety, frustration, together with exaggerated, I would say, sense of, how dangerous or how controversial this bill is over there. And of course, you have this opposition parties. Some of them, went to as far as Washington to seek help, to support them to launch the protest. And there are a lot of factors, I would say.
Chief Executive Carrie Lam, we had a soundbite from her on the air last night. She defends her decision. She says, quote, "I would not do anything that's not in the interest of Hong Kong." Has she handled this well? I mean, does she need to do a better job of kind of convincing the people in Hong Kong that she's moving in the right direction? I mean, is part of this framing this with the public?
Well, I think, of course, the government probably they need to do a better job in communicating with the public. For example, the government has already made several concessions about the amendment of the bill. For example, in order to ease the concern about people's, say whether that will infringe upon Hong Kong's freedom or Hong Kong's human rights situation over there. So there are some safeguards, or there are 8 instances that, in the extradition case, that people will not be extradited to the mainland in China. For example, behavior related to publishing, academic research, freedom of speech, freedom of the media, etc. Any case about this, that will be extradited to the mainland. And also, for people who are at risk of political or religious persecution, or who faces a death penalty, that will also not be extradited to the mainland. And in addition to that, there are double approval system, I call it, like, any extradition case that will be approved by the chief executive of Hong Kong, and also by the ruling or by the court in Hong Kong. That is, the court will rule the case. They say, hey, this is to be permitted to be extradited to the mainland. And also, if you look at the bill, it covers mostly 37 types of criminals, internationally recognized, and also with and all those criminals are also punishable for 7 years or up above prison terms. That is serious crimes only. So I think, the concern about this draft bill is a bit exaggerated, and also the protesters' demand a bit also unrealistic, probably. They are demanding, complete withdrawal of the bill, and also resignation of Carrie Lam. To say the least, is not realistic, I would say.
And so how do you see this all playing out in the end?
Well, it's likely, I think, the government will do more job, will receive more feedback, will talk to the public to see that, 99.99% of Hong Kong residents will not be affected by an extradition bill like this. And then, remember, there are already about 900,000 people, residents, have signed a letter to support such a bill of extradition over there. So I think they need to do a better job. Hopefully, I would say so far there's a determination that will go ahead with the approval of the bill.
We'll be watching all of that. Qinduo Xu, always a pleasure talking to you. Thanks so much for joining us from Beijing.